Welcome to the Business Legends Podcast, where we interview business leaders and entrepreneurs so that you can learn from their successes, become inspired, and meet the people that make change happen. I'm the host of the show, Reese Arlen, along with my co-host, who did not mess me up once this morning, Christian Webb. Say hello to the fine people.
Hello, hello, hello. Today we have two lawyers on board, which I think we're going to get all of our paperwork done today.
Yep, we got it all done. All
at lunch, the one we're paying for.
Yep, there we go.
Lots of stuff we need.
We'll send you a bill for our time.
Thank you. Well, we appreciate you guys joining. Today we are joined by Mr. Mark Kutny and George Sistrunk.
No. He said you had to say that with a mean voice.
With a mean voice? I can do that. George Sistrunk.
There you go. Perfect.
There we go. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Let's dig right into it. So, you guys started in a law firm together, correct? And then later on, you started Town Brewing. Is that the schedule of events?
Yeah, that's the general timeline. We started working at a firm in Charlotte back in. Well, I started in '98, and you were
2000.
2000. So he's a young whippersnapper.
Young whippersnapper.
And then a number of us left that firm to start our firm we're with now in 2001.
Okay.
I was there for about 6 months and had come from Virginia Law School, went to an international law firm, and then was told my entire group is leaving, moving across the street, and they would talk to me later. So it was a little scary.
Yeah.
Eventually got there. We had folding tables and chairs, much different than the big international law firm.
Yeah.
There were about 14 lawyers when we started.
Wow.
And we've grown it to, we're about 25 now.
I think about that. Yeah, 25, 26, yeah.
That's still strong.
Yeah.
All lawyers or a mix?
Well, that's all lawyers, and then we've got
Wow.
staff of probably, 15 or so, something like that.
It's a little more than that. I think we're 50 total people.
Yeah.
Wow.
There you go.
That's even more beast than I thought it was. I thought it was like half that.
Yeah.
That's sick.
So what's it like? So you guys, before the show, we talked about how you guys practice varying different types of law. What's it like to have so many different heads together at the same time? Like, do you guys collaborate on a lot of projects, or kind of everybody's in their own lane doing their own type of stuff?
It's a little bit of both. Like I do a lot of commercial real estate work, and Mark does a lot of litigation. And if everything's going right, my clients don't end up in litigation.
Right.
And when George screws up, I take it over.
Got it. Okay, I got it. Little job security there. I like that.
But there's also a lot of overlap because like I might have an issue that maybe I see is heading towards a dispute.
Mm-hmm.
I can bring him in to help me kind of manage that, or maybe he's got a dispute that involves something I've got knowledge about, a lease dispute or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
About half the stuff I do, although I'm a litigator, is not in the courtroom.
Yeah.
It's actually trying to resolve disputes before we get to a formal lawsuit or arbitration in the courtroom.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's very interesting that you guys the roles that you guys have. There's so many different types of law, but it seems like you guys complement each other very well as far as kind of a full service package type of thing.
So you're like a retained athlete to keep me out of trouble.
Right. I like that.
That's exactly right. But no, yeah, it is. I think there is a lot of complementary practices and work that goes on in our firm. We were talking earlier too about just collegiality and collaboration, and like for a firm of our size, it's really important. We're talking about the impacts of work from home and those type of things on that.
Yeah. So one of the things I think that really make y'all business legends, the reasons we wanted y'all on here, is because you started a successful business law firm, and then for some reason had the crazy idea to do it again. Like, so did y'all just get bit by the bug? Is this just like you knew you could rinse and repeat multiple businesses? Like, what makes y'all keep doing this?
Maybe one too many beers in a garage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's how it started.
That's probably exactly what it was.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah, It did grow out of drinking beer in a garage or wherever, that kind of social aspect of it.
I might hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah. And gosh, we've talked about this a lot in the past about like I don't think there was one spark. It was a series of sparks over time. Drinking beer, making beer in the garage, seeing other breweries open in Charlotte or the surrounding area, and thinking somewhat crazily, why the hell can't we do this?
Was it like having a beer and you're like, this beer's crap, we can do way better? Or was it like, this seems simple, we can do this too?
No, I think it was more, for me, you may have a different answer, Mark, but for me, it was more about respect. Like, wow, this is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, this is really good stuff. This is great. Why isn't there more of this?
Okay.
I think that's was more my.
Yeah, when we started, we were home brewing in George's garage, and we had mixed results. Some were good, some were not.
Yeah.
So,
Did you ever throw away a batch just out of curiosity, or did you power through it?
Yeah. Yeah. There were a couple. There was one where one of our partners was siphoning something with his mouth that just, I think, some mouth yeast got in it, and it was disgusting.
Oh, no way.
I am glad that your bad batches were in his garage.
Mouth
no,
yeast.
there were many a batch.
I need a moment to just mouth yeast like that. Just I don't know that ruined my whole morning. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that's so funny.
That might be my least favorite word.
Mouth yeast.
That was probably over a decade ago, and I'd forgotten about that. So just
Mouth
now.
yeast.
Thanks, George.
I'm never gonna forget
It took him 10 years to forget it, and now we're gonna start the cycle all over again.
10 more years.
Oh my goodness. So, oh my God. So on the subject of business, you guys are partnered together. What was it like? Was it challenging to start Town Brewing together? So you guys start practice in year 2000, pretty much, plus or minus, or
Yeah.
okay,
Ballpark.
And then Town Brewing comes in what year?
Well, we opened in 2018.
2018.
So we're about to have our 5th anniversary.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. But we started legitimate planning for it probably 2015,
Okay.
something like that.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
Yeah.
And the planning worked well. So there were 4 of us at the time: an environmental lawyer, a construction lawyer, George, the real estate lawyer, and me, sort of the business, labor and employment litigator.
The paranoid guy.
The paranoid guy.
Yeah,
I like
paranoid.
that.
So
Yep.
it was a good combination of the 4 of us, and we each had a kind of a role. So George was set; he had to negotiate and deal with our lease. It's an old garage. Rick kind of made sure it wasn't a brownfield or anything like that. He also had a pretty good background through. Was he a chemistry major? I can't remember.
Yeah,
Anyway, he knows a lot more about the chemistry of beer than we do, and so he was helping on that end, helping find brewers, develop recipes more so than we were. Alan, kind of did a lot of the construction work, and I kind of helped get our handbooks and things like that together, and permitting and all that. And so it was really kind of a fun 4 group.
It's like poetry in motion.
Yeah,
It's crazy. It's crazy that y'all's disciplines, like, you ended up taking that into the next business together, and you used it to your advantage. I mean, that's just a really incredible.
Yeah, I mean,
thing.
I think there's some luck there in terms of how we came together, because we did have useful skills.
Yeah.
For sure. It helped a lot.
Yeah. So, I mean, did you guys just kind of instinctively, because you guys at that point had worked together for 15 years, plus or minus, and then your other 2 partners as well. Did you guys just kind of instinctively know who would kind of handle what part, or was there discussion about that?
I mean, there was definitely some instinct on that.
Sure.
We kind of knew what each other's lanes were.
Yeah.
But we were also, I think all of us were all comfortable overlapping a little bit if needed, and getting in the help as needed.
The planning sounds much more poetic than the reality, because when we got into it, all of us were going a different direction.
Oh, yeah.
I think my filing cabinet, where I'm generally fairly organized, was just a box, and we were just throwing things in that box. And
Oh,
we were
boy.
signing them left and right.
Oh, God.
Not even knowing half the time what we were signing, just to try to get it done.
Yeah, we'll look at that later.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
definitely do not practice what we tell our clients, right? Which is read it, pay attention to this.
Cobbler's
It's
kids,
just-
man.
yeah.
Cobbler's kids.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is.
Happens too often.
Yeah.
I was in a website consultation the other day, and they were like, we were talking about websites, and obviously, and we were like, they're like, we want a really high end, let's see your website. And I was like, no.
Not that one. Not that
No,
one.
no,
Not
no,
that
no.
one. That's not the
Let
one.
me show you websites we've done recently. Our website hasn't been touched since 2018.
Yeah.
Let's not touch that
Yeah.
website.
Yeah. It's just the way that it is.
Always
man.
creating everybody else's stuff.
Yeah.
I'm very interested though, because like Reese and I feel like we have a very good dynamic. He's very operational organized. I'm very marketing visionary. And it's like combined, I feel like we could start a second business and be very successful. But consulting, which is what y'all do as well, pretty much, right? Is I don't know how y'all found the time to start a second business while also consulting as lawyers. Because we would be consulting on marketing constantly, and then starting a second business, which is obviously a full-time job. How in the world did y'all do that?
It doesn't work great sometimes. I mean, it was stressful, and still is at times when.
Has it gotten better?
Yeah, I mean, there's that period of time when you're so focused on startup that you're spending so much time on it, but you have these other pulls. We're selling our time for a living. Our wives certainly don't want us to just give up making actual money to start a business to
course.
put money into for.
Of
right?
course.
And so it's hard. It's still hard at times, but it's definitely much better now that we've gotten our feet under. We kind of have our processes and our structure and management in place. That helps a lot. But there's definitely, I mean, for me, I think one of the things I just wish I did have more time for the brewery side of it, but there's just times I don't.
That's interesting. It's like you wish you had more time for the brewery side. So you found a passion that you care so much about. You're like, I wish I had a little more time for this.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
I mean, I think you feel the same way, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we were, I guess, blessed to have wives that were very supportive of us. We're all still married, which is a good thing. And then we had friends that helped us out. So, I mean, times when there were unavoidable conflicts, luckily there are folks either at the brewery or at the firm that will, fill in for us when we need it. And so having that support group around you is really important for starting a business.
How much time do you guys spend after hours, like at Town Brewing, just out of curiosity? Like
Not drinking, working.
It's gotten less. Year one.
How about with drinking?
Year
and
one,
working?
year one, it seems like I was over there. Year one, it seems like I was over there just about every day.
I figured year one was tough.
Even like my paranoia, as George mentioned earlier. I'd look at the security cameras at night, make sure we were locked. I'd stay up to make sure that the alarm was turned on by whoever was leaving that night. And then at some point, it just you realize
Life's gonna keep going.
Life's gonna keep going. Just do what you want to do and do what you need to do.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a good. I mean, it is. Sometimes it's working. Sometimes it's networking for lawyer stuff. And I mean, it's a great natural place for us to take people over there.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of my legal networking by socializing, and so that's perfect. And so
I bet y'all met clients over there.
yeah, for sure. And it's so that I mean to the extent networking is work, that's happening too.
Sure.
In addition to actual, let's talk about projections for the next quarter on outside beer sales. That a lot of that goes on too.
Yeah, we had some lawyers at our firm who were there yesterday interviewing a lawyer to come work for us, and I think they're extending an offer. So apparently it went well at town.
There we go.
All right.
There we go.
That's good stuff. That's kind of that's such a neat thing. It's like, and I know you guys personally as well. So I'm sure that you guys market it in a very humble manner, and you say, come on over to this brewery. How do you guys like those beers or whatever, just kind of check. So speaking of that, have you guys ever had an experience like that where you didn't identify yourselves as the owner or something like that, and you're like, how do you like that beer? And someone's like, this thing sucks.
I do that all the time. I sit at the bar, and if I'm not wearing anything Town or anything like that, I look generally like most other patrons.
Right.
And so I'll listen to what people are saying about the beer, the food, things like that. And then eventually they'll hear, there's one of our owners sitting there, and they'll want to come over and talk.
Yeah.
I try and interact as much as I can, especially we have a lot of regulars from the Wesley Heights neighborhood, for example.
Sure,
and
it's right next door.
Yeah, and so I try to interact as much as possible. And some people know that I'm involved, and some people don't. But I like to yap to strangers, regardless. So I enjoy that part of it, and I definitely do it out in the world too. Like if there's some place where our beer's on tap or in cans, like I try and get some feedback.
Yeah.
I love when things work well together. And like what I really like about what y'all did, other than the passion part, like just business, I love the fact that y'all took a legal system and really probably not a lot of socializing other than forced networking outside, and then built something that was 100% socializing, but it's also high end and trendy. So you're probably catching a lot of people that could be your new customers. Yeah. So it's like it like blends in so nicely.
There's definitely blending and overlap there for sure.
Yeah.
Especially as the craft beer world has grown and it moved from just being bearded white guys to a much broader audience, which is something was really important to us as we were starting the business in the first place. So it's been nice to see that kind of thing come to fruition.
That's good.
Yeah. Speaking of that, what do you guys think is the future for craft beer and for Town particularly?
Oh, boy, that's a big question. Craft beer's in a bit of a weird spot right now, I think, because of the explosive growth over the last 15, 20 years. And
I'm sorry. Do you have a sentiment on that, by the way? The explosive growth of craft brewing. So I kind of have an opinion on that. I'm just curious.
Yeah, well, I think the one thing that's been great about the growth is I think there's been a much larger focus over the last number of years on the quality of the product. And there was a time where kind of anybody could probably open it up and
Right.
get going. So I think that's great. That's also potentially a downside because if you have slips in your product at all, that people are going to know it and pay attention to it.
Yeah.
Again, I think that's mostly a positive. But yeah, but there's a lot, and it's much more competitive, especially if you're looking for tap handles in bars and restaurants and store shelf space.
It's definitely changing. You may have seen, I think there was an article in the Observer this week about whether the beer festival is dead. And the thought being that there's so many craft breweries out there that you can go and you can sample the beers that you typically would have sampled at a craft beer fest that you couldn't get access to in your grocery store or anywhere else fairly easily and regularly. And so they've really seen craft beer festivals, even all the way up to the Great American Beer Festival. Last year, the convention center was under construction, so it was only half as big anyway, but I'm not even sure they sold out all the tickets, or it took them a lot longer to do so. And so the growth in craft beer and breweries, I think, is shifting. And so it's becoming more localized. Maybe neighborhoods, and town is a great example of that. Wesley Heights neighborhood is extremely supportive of us and has been throughout COVID and all that. And so I think that's a little different than what we used to see, where there was just 4 or 5 breweries here, and people really look forward to those beer festivals when you'd get a bunch of other breweries from out of town coming in and bringing beers that maybe the 4 or 5 here in Charlotte weren't brewing. Now everyone has those, and so it's really changed, and we struggle with that. So what do we do? And so we've developed some new products. We have a hard tea now.
Interesting.
Which is
Oh, you know what? We tried that. It's really good.
Yeah.
We tried it last time we were over there. Yeah.
Was it there?
Loose leaf. Yeah. So it's
I'd
getting
had 2
brand new batch is getting brewed this month. So we'll have
You said brandy batch?
brand new.
Oh, brand new. I thought you said brandy. I was like, oh.
That would be bad. Yeah.
That would not. Not for me.
We have a lemon black tea, a peach green tea, and a tropical oolong tea.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll try it again because I actually don't remember trying it because I had a lot of sake that day.
There you go.
That
Give
happens.
it a shot. It's in the it's similar to a seltzer. It's trying to find those products that appeal to a diverse customer base, which we've always wanted to do.
Well, I'm part of that customer base because I'm not really, I can't have gluten, and all the beers that I love have a lot of gluten in it.
Yeah.
So I usually have like a seltzer or like a cider or some kind.
So here you go. Those are gluten free.
Yeah, and I hate every second of it. I wish I could have a beer.
Has anything surprised you guys in the beer world, particularly in the last 5 years? So, for instance, did you think that you had a product that was going to be a hit, and then it wasn't, or a product that you thought was going to do okay and it just exploded, type of thing? Has there been any particular example of something that surprised you guys?
For town in particular, I would say we have a raspberry sour called Broken Tarded.
That's my favorite one, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I always thought it was a good beer, but I never would have thought would be as high a performer as it is for us. It's one of our largest sellers outside of the tap room, and always in the top 3 in sales in the tap room. Just got Charlotte Magazine we just won the beer bracket in Charlotte Magazine for that best beer in Charlotte.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Which is cool. So it
came out yesterday.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sours in Charlotte too. It's pretty
Yeah. So
solid award.
That's one that I don't think I ever would have thought would do as well as it has.
I like sours too. I'd probably try that.
Yeah.
And it may speak a little bit to the changing palate of patrons, right? And so Charlotte Magazine said this was the first time a non-IPA or lager won the beer bracket. So first sour.
Once again, I'm part of that reason, man. I love the non-IPA beers.
Yeah. Well, I feel like for a while it got, and I don't want to get too carried away talking strictly about beer, but I feel like for a while there, everything just got hoppier and hoppier and hoppier, and it got to the point where you're almost chewing it, and you're like, I kind of want to change that up. What's your product, by the way? Mark and I were telling jokes about it's your lager that you said it's a beer, like that's your
Sprats.
Yeah. That's my second favorite. Like it's just the best thing. Like
it's a beer.
It's a beer.
It's your straight beer.
Yeah, it's a lager. It's a beer. Like it's perfect. Like if somebody, that's just the perfect. We're always subconsciously thinking about marketing stuff. And I remember talking to him after that or whatever. I was like, that's just the perfect like marketing tagline for that because Like that is exactly, if somebody just goes to the counter and says, I want a beer, like that's the perfect thing for it. Like I don't know, I wish that everything kind of had like a story like that kind of compared with it or something. But well, let's talk to up and coming entrepreneurs a little bit. So you guys started a brewery together. You had your financial backing from being attorneys and things like this. What types of things happened as a course, because you guys had never opened a brewery before, presumably. So what types of challenges did you guys encounter as you guys were everything from signing the lease and this giant file cabinet of marks over here? Like what types of things came about in those 3 years?
I think it's the unknown. No matter how many times we went, and the craft brewing industry is a great industry in that although it's competitive, it's very collaborative. And we sat down with, as we were opening town or even thinking about opening town, sat down with a number of owners of breweries who were very supportive and very willing to share with us whatever knowledge they have. And no matter how much of that you could sop up, there's always an unknown. And it ranged from our first big unknown that really kind of threw us for a loop was, as we were signed the lease in our building, going in to do the renovation, the building was falling down apparently.
Oh, geez.
And so that set us back
There's
at
an
least
unknown.
6 months.
Yeah.
And so
How did you guys remediate that? Like what happened?
Well, luckily our landlord, we leased the space, so our landlord took care of it. But
Good.
it was an issue where, I mean, you've been there. The
Yeah.
rear of the building has like 15 feet of dirt behind it and big oak trees. It was
Right.
pushing on the wall, and the wall.
Jeez.
So they ended up doing a poured in place
Concrete, yeah.
reinforcement, basically around about 3/4 of the building.
Wow.
I think that's what causes a lot of like potential entrepreneurs to get like analysis paralysis, because they think you can figure it out. They think like, okay, I'm going to start this plan this year and I'm going to have 100% of the first 6 months solved. And that's just not how it works. You go get the LLC, you start your business, and you just get hit in the face 47 times, and all of a sudden you're making money. Or not.
Yeah, yeah. Or our business. Right.
No, and and for us being on the lawyer side, we're counseling people about risk all the time, and so switching that gear to the entrepreneurial type mode, which is you definitely want to see the risk, but sometimes you're moving past it.
Yeah.
It's a tough switch, and it does make for analysis by paralysis. It did it to us for sure.
I'm sure it did.
Time.
It does it to everybody. It's just natural. It really is. Because like one of the things y'all are probably thinking about, which I didn't think about, was like every time you changed one thing about the way you wanted to do business, you're probably like, well, if we don't change this in this operating agreement and how we do business, then somebody could probably hold us liable to blank, blank, blank. And a normal lawyer would be like, that's $7,000 to make that change.
Yeah.
I haven't even started my business yet.
They can handle that in-house, luckily. Yeah.
we did save some money on attorneys.
Oh, I bet.
Did you guys, out of curiosity, so I guarantee you he can't even find our operating. I know exactly where it is, but he doesn't even know where it is.
It's not my realm.
So yeah. So did you guys go back and amend your operating agreement a whole bunch before you got into it, or did you guys just kind of have that trust together beforehand because you knew each other from the law firm?
I think we definitely made adjustments to it because
Sure.
we had we had our core group, and then we had some kind of friends and family investors as well.
Gotcha.
And so I think there were some modifications as we envisioned what that was going to be. We pretty early on decided we didn't want to cast a wide net for investors. We wanted to keep that small, and so once we figured that out, we kind of were able to adjust the documents accordingly.
Gotcha.
So probably not a whole lot of back and forth on that.
Yeah. What is you guys' opinion on this statement? The best operating agreement that you could ever have is the one you never need. What do you guys think about that?
I think that's 100% accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because if you're in a business or in a situation where you have to refer to like, well, could this guy do this thing?
Right.
Or what am I authorized to do? Then you're really running in a way that is you're constrained. And that would be my opinion. So I think I agree with that.
Yeah. Do you have an opinion on that one, Mark?
No, I agree as well. I think if you are consulting an operating agreement on a regular basis, it means there's probably some dysfunction going on within the organization.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure we've done things that are not allowed by our operating agreement.
Yeah.
But we do it
Everybody
all,
does.
knowingly and with consent, and it's done for a reason, and we trust each other.
Yeah, we talk about ours very rarely. Maybe like once or twice when he buys bug killing shotguns.
The salt loaded one.
I did. Yeah. It's called Bug Assault for your information.
I was just jealous he didn't get me one.
Yeah, I should have got you one, man.
Well, it's a company one. You just share it.
Yeah, there you go. That's it.
You need to pass that on down.
I will. You can borrow it when I'm in Vegas this week. Yeah, it's really interesting. So we've had about 80 Business Legends episodes, and people kind of fall on both sides of the fence on that situation. Although it seems like the four of us are in agreement, but we've had certain guests that have come in and said, make sure that you have an ironclad, bona fide operating agreement that you can't ever, get rid of type of thing. And then, Christian and I knew each other for 10 years before we ever got into business together. So, I mean, that's why he doesn't know where ours is. We just have it because it's just a thing to have, So we
made it for the worst of the worst, and then put it aside.
Yeah.
Hope to never look at it.
Never looked at it. But now it's more of just a joke thing. So like when I may or may not allegedly business expense a bug assault, allegedly. So
I think where some people may disagree with us, and it's a good disagreement, but they're looking ahead, right? So
Right.
If you've gotten to the point where there is dysfunction or there's a disagreement about how to make a decision, then it is important to have sort of an ironclad operating agreement to help you through that, because then you have a piece of paper that says, we agreed on this originally, we all signed it, this is the way we're going to do it, nobody was ands or buts about it. So that helps. But
yeah, I distinctly, I'll later on I'll send you the episode. But I distinctly remember having a conversation on Business Legends about just job responsibilities, because it's really easy to get in a situation where you're questioning somebody's work ethic or something like that if they contribute something different to the business. So it's just an interesting situation. I just wanted you guys' opinion as attorneys. So future of town brewing. So you guys are already distributing, already going into restaurants and bottling and things like that. What comes next? Do you guys think you might do an additional location, or have you discussed that, or maybe it's under wraps, or maybe it's top secret? What comes what comes next for you guys?
I hear acquisition in the wind.
Yeah.
We're selling to AB InBev. We're
Okay.
announcing it right here.
Yeah.
We talk about and have for a long time all the things you can imagine, right?
Sure.
Another location, expanding the distribution network, all those kind of things, and then where we are as a business, we have to figure out where the focus is. So last year, COVID showed us something we always knew we wanted to do, which was have our own canning line and control our packaging of our product. And so last year,
2 years ago.
2 years ago, gosh, oh my gosh, 2023.
Yeah. Time flies.
We bought a canning line and put it in line to enable us to control that. And before that, we were having one of these mobile canning operations where they come on a truck and bring the equipment in, can it, and leave, and it cuts into your margins. It makes it hard to schedule. So, point being, that was a focus for us at the time, which was let's make sure we're expanding our outside sales. So I don't know right now. Maybe he does. I don't know right now what our next focus is now that we've kind of really spent some time focusing and money and everything else on that.
I think we've talked about it. I mean, one of our main focuses now is trying to dial it in. We've talked about, there's tons of beers. We have new cans, new labels coming out all the time. Do we continue to do that, or do we focus on some of our core brands and really grow those through marketing? I think we need to spend a little bit more time doing that. I still think there's a lot of people in Charlotte that don't know who Town Brewing is. And so that has an opportunity for us to take those core brands like Broken Tarded that just won the beer bracket in Charlotte Magazine, and make that more of a regionally known beer, like the beers from sort of the bigger five, Noda, Hop Drop and Roll. That's I'd love to have one of our IPAs,
I think the name
right
did y'all
there,
a lot of justice, man, because y'all picked a really good name. I think that really helped.
Town?
No, that too,
Broken
but
Tarded. Yeah.
That's a really
That's
solid
his.
name.
That's Mark.
That's
the one creative thing he did for the whole.
It's the only beer I've named, unfortunately.
Is it really?
So,
Is it really?
it's
I'm gonna
hilarious.
say this to
That's
the
hilarious.
paranoid business owner, which
Yeah.
you're probably not gonna like, but
Oh
I
God.
think
Just don't say it.
so in a market that's saturated like beer, I mean it just is. It's super saturated. You have to break through with the most polarizing thing possible. So I think you should reverse engineer and study how Liquid Death has entered the market and see if you can do a brewery/beer version of that in your own form, because they took over the water market like they were nobody, and then now they're like probably $1 billion+ company out of nowhere because all they did was they were weird.
Yeah.
That's what they did. They made liquid death. Well, who drinks liquid death? It's like poison.
Yeah.
It sounds like poison to me.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah, everybody. It's everywhere.
And have you seen their
one
marketing?
this
Like their
morning.
commercials?
Yeah.
It's like it's
Real funny.
perfect. Like marketers, like literally, we drool over that kind of work. Because somebody said, "Listen, marketer, I'm going to give you full realm. I don't care about legal. I don't care about any of it. Just whatever you think's best, do it." And somebody got wild.
Yep.
No, it's a great point. I mean, it is
Some crackhead in a marketing
I mean,
facility.
it's not that it ever was, but it's definitely not enough now to just have good product. I mean, we're confident in the product, but yeah, it is finding those. What is that angle? What is that thing that makes people not only enjoy your product but seek it out?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know, sometimes there's no bad publicity. Sometimes, right? I mean, even if it's you're still getting your name out there one way or the other, and people are finding out about you.
Yeah.
And maybe they need to throw me in a closet and lock me up. Go figure out how to get us in trouble so we get some good publicity.
Just give you like 50 Red Bulls and say, you don't come out of here till he's done or something. Yeah. 50 Red Bulls and 100 Spratzes, and then we'll figure it out from there. So I want to talk a little bit about pivoting. So when did you guys enter this tea/seltzer? When was your first batch of that? Was it this year or last year?
We started dancing with seltzers a little bit 2 or 3 years ago, probably, right?
Almost straight from the beginning.
It was pretty early on.
Grapefruit seltzer was.
Our brewer used to call it what do you call it? Prison water.
Prison
Prison wine. Prison wine.
Prison wine.
Prison wine. Yeah. Because you can make it in a toilet prison, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is hilarious.
I didn't realize that. That's
Yeah.
good information.
They could
there you
probably.
go.
They'll
If
probably.
you ever,
they'll
we
probably
don't
teach
do
you.
that. Though.
Yeah.
try
know-
it at home.
you know
Try
what?
it in your own toilet at home.
Guys,
right.
that could be the name of your next seltzer, just like liquid death. You'll call it prison water.
There you go.
You have seltzer named prison water. I love it. So what was the decision like to pivot into that market? Because you start a brewery, you think beers, and then what led to the decision of making that pivot? Because it's really important as entrepreneurs that we make decisions that embrace change sometimes.
Part of it was easy because it fit with our mindset from the very beginning, which was to be an open space for people to enjoy from all areas. In terms of that's why we always had wine or
Right.
ciders or soda. It's things we didn't want to just be a place that we got 6 IPAs and that's it. If you don't like that, then go somewhere else. We didn't want that. So that. In that way, it was easy to move into that. Also, the processes are very similar in terms of making it, so it wasn't a hard
Didn't have to relearn.
procedural shift to use our brewing equipment to make a seltzer or a hard tea.
Right.
I think the gluten-free option was a big
Yeah.
aspect of it as well. We just wanted something in-house that we made, that would appeal to those that couldn't drink a beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think paying attention to those trends too is the trends of younger people being still consuming alcohol but being interested in a more diverse alcohol portfolio, being interested in more health conscious options, less sugar, gluten-free, lower calorie, that kind of thing.
We had some fun at Charlotte Race Fest this summer. George and I, it's one of the few events that we actually go out and pour beers and are out there, that we're not staffing it with other people. And so we had all the owners out there along with our brewers and others, and just all hands on deck. But we started trying to do marketing surveys about loose leaf, our hard tea. And,
Oh yeah, you
and
guys
so,
would like this. Yeah.
So
can't wait.
sometimes people would come up and they'd see it there and they'd ask about it, and we'd have different answers. They were all correct, but it was one answer would be, well, this is a gluten-free hard tea, or it's just a hard tea, or it's a 100-calorie gluten-free hard tea,
Or it's a low-calorie seltzer kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like just trying all those different things.
Yeah.
But
And
gluten-free was the one.
Yeah,
Gluten-free was the thing that performed the
That
best?
was the one that got people more interested. Yeah.
Really? That's interesting.
And people think of it as a poison, really. To be
Yeah.
honest with you.
Yeah. Have you guys seen any shift into people requesting like alcohol-free beers and stuff like that, or?
That
It
still
happens,
gets
and
me.
we don't make it, but we keep some in cans for that. It's not a big segment of what we sell, and we don't see a big demand for it. I think we see more of other stuff, the teas,
Sure.
and the seltzers, and the ciders, and I think we see a lot more.
I will never understand that.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
equipment to make a non-alcoholic beer is fairly expensive, and it's not the return on investment would not be there for someone like
Really?
us.
Really? I mean, just out of
I think it'd be less expensive.
yeah,
I
out of
guess I don't know
my
anything about it.
curiosity, what do you have to do? You have to brew it and then take the
well, you
alcohol out or
can make
something?
it.
Or?
You can make it cheaply, and then it's horrible. Like
Okay.
Oh.
duels, so you can
Yeah.
you can basically boil off the alcohol after you've made the beer.
Oh, and then it just
and
hardens
it's
probably.
just horrible.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of other products like passing it through a membrane that captures the alcohol molecules, and
Oh wow.
so there's better technology that actually make like some. If you have a non-alcoholic beer now, some of them are really good.
Huh.
But yeah, those are expensive.
Yeah.
I'm sure the cost is coming down, but not in a way that would be useful for us.
Makes sense. Yeah.
During dry January, I found Guinness's non-alcoholic beer was actually really good.
Really? Dry.
Yeah, I can't believe you do dry January. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. That's just
When
something.
you need the warmth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I don't think I've ever had a no alcohol beer, to tell you the truth. Like
Like a dry August would be okay, I guess.
yeah, middle of summer.
Except for my
something like
birthday.
that. Yep. Very good. Well, gentlemen, I think we're running out of time here slowly but surely. So thank you so much for joining us today. We always try to close out with a fun question. And I have mine. Have you figured out one yet?
Yeah,
By the
you're
way.
procrastinating.
Yeah.
Stalling for time.
Yeah, I'm stalling a
Oh,
little
okay.
bit. I got one. So if you guys had to drink only one beer for the rest of your lives, which one would it be?
Sierra Nevada Pale Ale.
Really? Wow.
That was kind of. It's one I've always loved. It's a consistently
That was a very fast answer too, by the
fantastic
way.
beer.
Yeah.
It's one of the ones that
He's like, put it on IV.
Yeah.
and for me, it's one of those ones that really got me interested in craft beer years ago.
Wow.
Because it was one of the first ones that was kind of readily available on the East Coast.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Have you been to Asheville? Have you been to the brewery?
Yeah, so I grew up
Yeah.
in Asheville.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay.
Asheville's a lot different from when I
Yes,
was
it
growing
is.
up. But
Yeah.
yeah, I have been.
Yeah.
It's great. So that would be my one for sure.
Yeah. How about sorry, Mark, I'm going to let you go too, but how about a Town Brewing product? Which one would it be?
It would probably be Disco Hop, which is our
Wow.
IPA.
I did not expect that. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
It's
wow.
it's kind of a old school IPA. Again, it kind of goes back to how I got interested in craft beer in the first place. But those kind of more West Coast style IPAs, little piney. That would be my one.
Okay, Mark, you're up. Let's go.
He took all my answers. It's
Really?
unfortunate. Yeah, no. I mean, it's funny. Like Sierra Nevada Pale Ale was always the one that I sort of drank. It's hard for me to just say one beer.
Sure, of
after
course.
we all went through college and we all drank that.
Yeah,
keg of
Busch
very,
Light, Busch
very
Light.
cheap beer.
Yeah.
For us, it was Molson Ice.
Oh God,
Oh.
It's pretty bad.
Canadian Bud Light. I
Yeah,
got you.
exactly.
Yeah.
It was the bang for your buck, right?
Oh,
You had
gosh.
to have a higher alcohol and less cost, and that's what,
Yeah.
that's what you
18
wanted
for
in college.
$4.
And so I ended up taking like a craft beer course, and
Oh,
they
cool.
exposed,
In college you did, or?
It did, yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't for a grade. It was just
Oh, I see.
it's called going out to bars. And
Yeah,
Right.
I took a class. It happened at 9 p.m. every Friday.
The first beer that really turned me on was Sam Smith's Russian Imperial Stout, and it just
Wow, that's
it was
hefty.
a beer unlike anything I'd ever had. And so
Yeah, you still love that.
I still love that one, and so you can't find it in the grocery stores anymore around
Yeah.
here. It's harder to find.
I was gonna say I haven't seen one. In a while.
I've always, from that day, tried to. I rarely drink the same beer over and over again. And
Yeah.
If I do at town, it's unfortunately Disco Hop,
Really?
which he's already said. So
Yeah.
that's the one I probably have bought have gotten the most of this year.
Yeah, but I even noticed after we've had beers together, and you even cycle through them when you're on one evening. Like you don't just stick with one. Like you just kind of switch it around, type of thing.
I do. I like it. Our brewer Fetty is great right now. I mean, he seems like he's coming out with a new beer fairly regularly, and so the Wella Paloma beer that has.
Yeah,
I've not had
tastes a
that.
little bit like a Paloma.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and so
Interesting.
that's one I've been going to right now as well. And then summer months, Broken Target's great too.
Yeah, absolutely. Last question before we go.
No, I have a
oh, you okay? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Always so stingy.
Stingy.
So how hard would it be for me to talk y'all into building a castle the size of beer park out of a canned beer? Y'all's canned beers.
That'd be awesome.
That would be amazing.
The whole path, though. Like I'm talking, you need to talk to an architecture guy.
Yeah.
You need to design.
Meaning, so
a giant
that you
castle.
can walk through.
People
and,
explore it,
Yeah.
and inside it has like the history of your beers, and like
my
the walls are made of like each beer, and it's like talking about
See what role he serves in
way it
our
was
company,
made.
by the way.
And it's like the whole area, and then like when people are done with their little tour of the section, they take one beer out of the wall.
That would be so cool.
That would be amazing.
My mind is processing how much that would actually cost.
Yeah.
I'm betting like
I bet it would be worth the PR.
I bet it'd be
though.
like, it'd be like 300-400K. That's my guess.
Easily, if not more than that.
Way more.
Yeah.
it'd be-
Well, the size of Ramir Bearden Park. I mean, that's
pretty
like
big,
that's
yeah.
like 3 acres. So
I thought it was gonna be the line just to get in.
yeah. Well,
So
that's
there's
true,
the
too.
marketing right there.
Yeah. Let's talk to Mr. Beast.
And you're
Let's get this
selling
done.
beers in the park. Oh, Mr. Beast would be a great partner for
There you
that.
go. We got it
I
done.
thought you weren't creative. That's a good idea.
Boom. That's my one creative idea.
So it sounds like y'all are sold.
There we
wants
go.
to look at the wallet first.
Yep. That'll be good.
Well, that could be our second location. We could just make that.
That's
our second
yeah.
location.
Just
Yeah. You'd also have to get a zone. You have to get the park zone for beer. Because
Yeah.
they won't let you
Made
drink
out of beer
right now.
cans.
You'd have to. I'm sure you could do that though. So.
We make that happen.
oh my god. Well, that blew my question out of the water. So very good, gentlemen. Thank you so much for.